Jamaica, why are we failing our school children? I mean, let's stop pretending. Jamaica's school system isn't breaking. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do: sort, rank, and publicly humiliate our children. On any given graduation day across this island, hundreds of families save their last dollars, catch early buses, and squeeze into sweltering halls to celebrate a simple, monumental truth. My child survived 5 years of school. And yet, every single year, school administrators stand at the auditorium doors playing God. They turn away 16-year-olds at the gate because of an attendance record from 2 years prior. They force lower performing primary school kids to sit in the crowd wearing street clothes while their classmates parade in satin gowns. In the most insane scandal to hit local headlines, a high school chose a brilliant girl to give the valedictorian address to speak on behalf of her entire class and then banned her from stepping onto the stage to receive a diploma. Why? Because of a missed grade 9 exam. She was good enough to give the speech, but not good enough to walk the stage. This isn't order. That isn't high standards. That is pure, unadulterated institutional cruelty. Ask yourself, what kind of society spends 5 years educating a child only to kick them in the teeth at the finish line? We are taking young people at their most vulnerable age, dragging them in front of their peers, their parents, and slapping a big red stamp on their forehead that says, "You don't belong." And for what? To protect the prestige of a piece of paper? To satisfy the ego of a principal who thinks discipline means destruction? It is time to pull back the curtain on this toxic practice, because this isn't discipline, my friends. It's administrative laziness disguised as rigor. You know, when you listen to local talk radio or read the comment sections on social media, the defenders of these harsh policies always fall back on the exact same line year after year. Graduation is an earned privilege, not a right. If we don't hold them back, how will they learn how the real world works? What a ridiculous statement. We say things that we don't even understand. Let's dismantle that lie right now. The real world does not function on public humiliation. When an adult makes a mistake at work, an employer doesn't force them to sit in the lobby wearing a sign so their colleagues can mock them. Think about that. That's not the real world. Professional institutions provide warnings, performance improvement plans, and structured support. Yet we take 16-year-olds whose brains are still developing, children navigating poverty, gang violence, broken homes, and under-resourced classrooms, and we demand absolute perfection from them under the threat of public exile. You know, when you look at it, in Jamaica, there are two phases of education. There is the bureaucratic trap, and there's the compassionate standard. The B trap, let's call it that. You know, put any meaning to the B. The B trap punishes struggling kids. The compassionate standard identifies gaps early. The B trap uses shame as a tool. The compassionate standard provides remediation. The B trap prioritizes school image. The compassionate standard provides completion. When a school bars a child from walking at graduation, they aren't punishing the child for lack of effort. They are punishing the child for the failures of the adults around them. It's time we grow up and think. If a student missed 20% of their classes, where was the guidance counselor in term 1? If a student failed a mock exam in grade 9, where was the academic intervention in grade 10? Why does the system stay completely silent for years, only to drop an executioner's axe 3 weeks before graduation day? It is infinitely easier for a school board to print a ban list than it is to build a support network that catches struggling students before they fall. Let's call it what it is. We have to speak honestly about the historical roots of this problem. You see, Jamaica's educational system was constructed under a colonial framework designed to divide society. It was built to create a tiny administrative elite at the top while pushing the majority into low-wage labor. They don't care. And so decades later, after independence, we are still worshipping that exact same sorting machine. When a primary school gives high-scoring children gold gowns and lower-scoring children blue gowns, that isn't academic motivation. That is class sorting in real time. It tells the 11-year-old child in the blue gown that their human worth is tied entirely to a standardized test score. Now, think about who suffers most under these rigid policies. The working class parent who spent their last dollar buying formal wear, taking time off from work, only to sit in an audience watching other people's children get celebrated while theirs sits isolated. The vulnerable child who was already struggling with self-worth, now handed a permanent psychological scar that tells them you are a second-class citizen. You would be amazed how many children are walking around with trauma in Jamaica. We take the exact children who need the most encouragement, the ones who fought through poverty and family instability, just to finish 5 years of school, and we tell them their journey doesn't matter because of administrative red tape. This is not how it has to be. Other developing nations faced with similar pressures have chosen empathy and common sense over institutional cruelty. In the Philippines, take the Philippines for example, the Department of Education realized years ago that barring students from graduation was driving youth away from society. And so they passed a national mandate. If a child completed the school years, they have the right to walk their cohort. Right? They have a right to walk with their cohort. If a child has outstanding academic requirements, you issue them a certificate of completion on graduation day and hold the official transcript or diploma in the office until the summer catch-up work is done. You separate the paper red tape from the human milestone. When is Jamaica going to get with these standards? You don't use a public stage to break a young person's spirit. It is time for the Ministry of Education, school boards, and communities across Jamaica to stop defending the indefensible. We don't even know what we're repeating sometimes. We hear a line and we just run with it. Graduation day should represent one thing: the collective triumph of a community bringing a child through 5 years of schooling. It's a culmination of achievement. We need some reforms. We need to decouple the ceremony from the red tape. Every student who sat through 5 years of high school must be allowed to walk the stage with their class. If they are pending academic credits, handle it privately in the office after the applause has died down. Never use the stage as a court of punishment. Oh, we love that, don't we? We need to ban the tiered graduation regala. No child should ever wear a different colored gown or be forced into civilian clothes while their peers wear gowns. There should be equality in regala. Reinforces that every child's presence matters. Mandate early intervention. If a student is at risk of not meeting graduation standards, the school board must issue written warnings to parents at least 12 months in advance. Complete with a free remediation plan. No child or parent should ever be blindsided weeks before the ceremony. Oh, we just love to punish in Jamaica. And as for educators and leaders, when we lift a child up at the finish line, we give them the confidence to face a tough world. But when we push them down at the gate, we risk losing them forever. Our children do not need more gatekeepers. They need more guides. Let them walk, let them celebrate, and let us build a system that helps our youth rise instead of watching them fall. You know, I've worked with youth for 16 years, and the ones who struggle are the ones who need compassion. And oftentimes, they are the one who comes out. They are the ones who come out on top. We need to support our children, not push them down because of our prestige that we want to surreptitiously protect in the name of standards. Let's, once and for all, lessen the burden and the trauma that the education system places on our children. What say you, Jamaica? Isn't it time we look at helping our children succeed and putting them down? Leave your comments in the chat, and I know you will. Until next time, one vision, one country, under God. See you next time.
Here we call,
one people, one nation,
standing tall,
under God,
strong and free,
Jamaica,
the land we love.